Right, I don't know quite how to start this. I've made a light bar. I bought a light bar for doing FPV driving. So basically, I wanted to add a bit of light. I thought it's a Yeah Racing one. Obviously, this is a WR8, so you can sort of see the size of it. It's a reasonable size. Some of these cars have light bars like this size. They use these light bars rather than the pods. This is me FPV body. What I'll do is at the end of the video I'll show you a comparison between this cost me 12 quid, and the one I've made is, see, these are alright for decoration and they give off a bit of light if you're driving line of sight with a crawler. Now I'd probably go on Amazon, and you want to try and pick something up. Once you've got this cob light, that I'll share an image of it. It come from just a hardware shop or whatever you want to call it. So I stripped the light all down, and the main light itself, you could see when you bought it from the shop, it looked the same size. The strip of light bar looked the same size that would fit in a crawler light bar, an RC light bar, right? So the cheapest ones I've found are on Amazon or whatever, right? Places like that, just basically on the internet. And if you can find the dimensions of the light bar, you want to try and find the dimensions of it, so you know how wide it is that way on, and you want the screw on ends so you can strip it down, because then that means if you want it shorter you can cut this alley casing down and screw it back on, right? Screw the end cap back on. And as for the torch that I bought to do it with, now when you get it out of the torch, I'll grab so this is the WR8 anyway, and what I use for lights is I use the cheap, it's a Killer Bodies lighting kit. I think they're about 12 quid with the lights, but if you go on Amazon again or anywhere like that, you can actually find these pre-wired plugs, and I think you get like 20 for a £5 pre-wired, so you'll never run out of these plugs. I went to the model shop, couldn't get red LED rear light bulbs anywhere, right? So I went straight onto the internet again, same sort of place. In the model shop they wanted £3 a pair, £3.50 a pair. I got 20 for a £5, so that was a lot different, and they all come pre-wired with a length of wire on, which then means you can just add that up. So this is me Evo body with the Killer Bodies lighting kit in it, and that's our models I got that from, and I've Gorilla taped all the inside with Gorilla tape, not just duct tape, because this Gorilla tape's like really thick. You can do other ways of lining the body, but this seems to be like the quickest way of doing it and gives you quite a bit of protection. So that's all in there like that, and then the wire comes up from the car and just plugs in one of them two plug holes there. That's for that. Obviously I shared on a page, it was a WR8 page. There's my Subaru body, which I've not really done anything with. So let's put that away. I haven't done anything with that yet. And the WR8, that can go away. I haven't actually used that for FPV yet. Right. So it's a bit naughty. I was only sharing the light on a WR8 page because someone was doing lighting. So right, this is the strip that come out of that torch, but obviously it was a lot longer. It was twice the length, but the height of that is literally like a thin strip of alley with this bulb on, and you can see all the diodes in it, the little dots, right? So I can cut that strip down anywhere between each one of them, well, between each one of them dots, and make it whatever length I want. But what you end up with is on here, I've coloured that in with a black Sharpie. If you splice this is like rubber coating, a gel coating. So if you just cut between the two, so you'll cut right down between the two and snip it off, then you shave off the rubber coating, and underneath is the circuit board, but it's covered in like a white paint. So you just scratch it off with a Stanley blade, yeah, if you haven't got the original end that's got the wire on it already, which you will have, but I've been messing around with this one, so I lost it, so I had to resolder the wires back on. So if you ever want to resolder a set of wires back on, you scratch the white paint off, and underneath there'll be a copper coating, and then you just solder your wires back on. Don't put more than 5 volts through it, you'll burn it out. So you can run it on a 1S LiPo, or get one of these from the model shop, a Beck, 5 volt Beck, right, and you can run it off of your main radio, like your receiver or whatever's. So at the minute my FPV gear's in in this body at the minute. So that's why I wanted the light, because I wanted to be able to see at night if I wanted to go and drive my FPV car at night. So this, we don't really need to see that well. So it's got the ESS sound dual in it, which should have really gone for the smaller one, not the dual, but whatever's. Now I've wired it up. I've actually wired this cheap switch in, and what I've done is the switch goes on and off via the radio, the handset, and the wire that runs through the switch is the signal wire from the ESC. So I can now flick a switch, neutral the car, rev it up, and get the sound. I know it's a bit childish, isn't it? But you can rev the car up and almost do like a launch with it, basically. So I've got the sound system in it, I've got the Killer Bodies lighting kit in it. This is the Killer Bodies, 10th scale Killer Bodies Subaru. So front and rear lights, I shared a little video actually. The rear, this is like an orange light, this glows up. I've run it off the rear lights, so when I brake it gets brighter. So not a great effect for the exhaust. You can get the proper exhaust ones, but I didn't want to load any more gear into the car. Rolling this over, what I'm doing is I'm running it off a 1S battery, the light bar, but like I said, if you use that 5 volt Beck, you can run the light off that. That's my FPV setup. Basically it comes through there, and there's these flat tabs on it, so it just gets taped into the roof. You got a fan for it to cool the DJI unit down. Absolutely amazing. I've done some racing with this the other day. That was absolutely brilliant. You can see so clearly through the digital setup that that box is like 12 quid, maybe even 20 quid. Say it's 20 quid, but if you buy the one with the lights with it, it's a bonus. But I think I paid 12 quid for one of these from one model shop on its own with no instructions. So I was a bit like, you know, you don't have to, that was quite expensive. But with the Killer Bodies lighting kit, oh, going back to this, I didn't have a crawler light bar, yeah. So if you had had a crawler light bar, you'd have cut your bulb to length, and maybe your light bar you'd have cut to length. But it's key that you get the measurement of this, and then you make sure that, generally the way I've found it is, any light bar for a crawler, if you get the biggest one they do, in like when you look at the image, it looks tall here. Basically, they all come with a plastic, they have a circuit board slid in them, then they have a plastic screen slid in them, right? And this will slide into one of them two slots, and you can always take the end off of them and cut this alloy bit down. So that's, and I've just locked it on there with some of that. See, it doesn't look pretty, but if you get a proper lighting bar, you can. I didn't want to spend the money out on a proper lighting bar, just didn't want to. So I think I spent it's £10 for the light bar, and this strip of alley cost me a £5. So I basically cut it and folded it and ended up with that. I'd have preferred a light bar, but I wanted to build it like now. I didn't want to have to wait for a light bar to come in the post. So I built it up like that. And the reason why, I don't know if there's another way of doing this. I think there probably is. If you went to one of these people that specialises in lights for RC cars, there is some people out there, I don't know who they are. You could have probably got proper bright lights from them, but I don't think they'd be doing anything different from this. They'd be using this kind of bulb. So you get yourself a cheap light bar off the internet, and then you buy one of these from the shop. I don't know whether this will affect the video, but I got it from B&M Bargains, basically, in the UK. And I'll share a photo of the packaging so you can see what you're looking for. But basically, you'll pull the torch apart. This comes out with two wires on it and an on-off switch. And it's as simple as that. Once you pulled it out, you just wire it up to your car or a battery, whatever's. So that's it, really. Little video on. And like I said, you can cut it to the length you want between these diodes, and then shave off the gel coating and scrape back the white coating, and you'll find the circuits. There's two tabs, just solder your wires on. That's if you have to. If I snapped my wires off one end, so I had to resolder them. But if you haven't done that and you've got it complete, you can just cut the other end off the board and it'll still work fine. This has been chopped up multiple times, so I've chopped it down this way and I've chopped it down that way, so it's not like you've got to cut it from a certain end or anything like that. Was there anything else? That's about it, really. All the lights that you see in my video clip, which I'll add the video to this clip. Any questions, just leave some comments or whatever. Hopefully that's helped people, because if you're driving in the car, it's all right having decorative lighting, but if you're doing FPV, you need light to see what you're doing, to be driving at night. My other lighting setup, which I haven't got round to yet, so that's my temp scale. Obviously I haven't got round to doing any WR8 FPV with my new setup, but there is plans to let's get this off of here. So basically that's an MCD 5th scale, and what I've done is I've bought a push bike light. Now this would come through wrong, but it's the right size for a light pod in 5th scale size, but it wasn't. It should have been twice this length, so it would look perfect on the bonnet. Being twice that length, it would have been perfect on the 5th scale bonnet. And that, well, that's like a car headlamp on its own. So the wider one's going to be even better. So that's what I'm hoping to do, is 5th scale stage FPV, and I'm just waiting. I think the full size light, I got this off of some internet firm and they sent it out the wrong size, got my money back, kept the old one, and they have then bought another one, so it worked out. It didn't cost me any more. But anyways, hopefully that helps. Any questions, just put them in the comments. Cheers.